Hi Pisces, happy early birthday and welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your February 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread where each of those cards represent a different house of the zodiac, starting with your sign Pisces as the first house all the way through to Aquarius representing the 12th house. And once we get through that, we'll actually pull an oracle card to help put a bow on the reading. As far as the decks being used this month, for the main tarot deck, we have the Hermetic Tarot, and for the oracle card, we'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle. And we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have the North Node. So the North Node is actually in your sign, so actually not too surprising to see this come up. But in general, the North Node can point to a lot of karmic growth, so you definitely could still be experiencing that. It's, wrapping up the transit through your sign, and we'll be moving into Aquarius later this year. But yeah, definitely makes sense to see that come up. Alright, so we have 8. 8th house energy for you guys is Libra. Astrologically speaking, it's a little quiet in that area of the zodiac right now, but could just have a focus in that area of life in general. 8th house points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments. And we have Aries. So for you guys, Aries is actually your second house of possession, self-worth, and finances. We've had Neptune in your sign, which is your ruling planet, by the way, for quite some time, and now it's back into Aries, where it's going to be for an extended period of time. And then also we have Saturn moving out of your sign back into Aries on the 13th of February, and we've had Chiron there for quite some time too, so quite a bit going on there. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. Alright, so for the first house, which represents personality and self-awareness, we have the Knight of Cups. So this is actually the card for Pisces, and in this deck it's referred to as the Lord of Waves and Waters. So yeah, so to see this here could just be saying that you guys might really feel like you're in your natural flow this month, which makes sense, right? Because there's going to be plenty of energies moving through your sign, especially as we approach your birthday season. So just be seeing you really feeling like you're comfortable, feeling like you're in your normal routines this month. So definitely a positive energy there. All right, in your second house, which as we mentioned, came up with the dice as well, which is Aries, we have the 9 of Pentacles. So this is a Virgo energy, and in this deck it's referred to as the Lord of Material Gain. So yeah, so it's like this could be pointing to a strong month for you guys financially as well. Second house is just generally pointing to possession, self-worth, finances. So even if it's not going to physically manifest as actual immediate physical money, it could just be saying that even your confidence boost might help, right? Your self-worth improving might help the opportunities that come your way around that area of life. Okay, and the third house, representing communication, short journeys, and siblings, we have 2 of Pentacles. So this is Capricorn energy here. This deck it's referred to Lord of Harmonious Change. So yeah, so to see this here could just be saying maybe you're going to have some conversations that might help you figure out what you want to do as far as your finances go as well. So you could see some positive momentum as far as that goes, especially if you've been going back and forth between multiple options. All right, in the 4th house, which generally points to home roots and family, we have the Princess of Wands. So this is the equivalent of the Page of Wands, and in this deck it's referred to as the Princess of the Shining Flame. So seeing this come up here could just be saying within your home environment you might actually feel a bit of a creative spark. So some of your best ideas might come to you when you're just relaxing at home, right? Maybe with some quiet around you. That might be where you actually start to get this creative spark coming back to you this month. So be on the lookout for that. Speaking of creativity, in the 5th house, which generally points to creativity, romance, and children, we have Fortitude. So this is actually the major arcana card for Leo. It's usually referred to as strength in a lot of decks. In this deck, it's referred to as the daughter of the flaming sword. So yeah, so again, like I said, I feel like you're just gonna feel your creativity flowing, right? So like we said, with all the energy moving through your sign, that could be a big part of why. But yeah, looks like you're gonna be feeling reconnected when it comes to your creativity, maybe even feeling passionate when it comes to romance, right? If that's something you felt a little bit more detached from lately. So definitely looks like some positive energy there regardless. All right, so in the sixth house, representing health, work, and daily routines, we have the moon. So yeah, so we can actually see the Pisces symbol right on the card itself. But usually when I see the moon, I point out to people to keep in mind the main cycles of the moon in the upcoming month. So right on February 1st, we're going to have the full moon in Leo, which is actually your sixth house of health, work, and daily routines, which is basically what this card's representing here too. After that, we'll have a new moon eclipse in Aquarius on the 17th. And for you guys, Aquarius is your 12th house, right? So that's going to point to spirituality, blind spots, mental health. And then, of course, when we get early into March, we'll actually have the full moon eclipse in Virgo, which would be your 7th house. So yeah, some pretty significant lunar cycles coming your way soon. But with this year, I feel like this is saying, you might feel like there's a bit of a blind spot there, right? So maybe you might have a little bit of difficulty sticking with your daily routines this month, right? Or maybe you might find your mind drifting a bit when you're at work, things like that. And maybe because you're getting so many creative ideas coming to the forefront, right? But just something to watch out for there. I don't think it's going to be a major deal. But like we mentioned around those main lunar cycles, definitely look for spikes in the activity there. All right, for the 7th house, which points to partnerships, contracts, and relationships, we have the Six of Pentacles. So this is Taurus energy here. This deck is referred to as the Lord of Material Success. So it sounds pretty positive, right? So especially for those of you who are entering into more financial types of contracts, you might actually see some positive momentum when it comes to that. And even if this is more of, let's say, a romantic dynamic, it could just be saying that you might find like you're really with an equal within your relationship where you both contribute meaningfully to the connection. All right, so we saw 8th house energy with your dice as well. And for the card for the 8th house, we have the Ace of Wands. So in general, 8th house points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments. So yeah, again, I feel like this is going to be a bit of a spark, right, where you might start to get some fresh ideas around that. So especially for some of you with intimacy, right, given what we were talking about with the 5th house, maybe you might start to feel your passion returning if it's been gone for a while. And beyond that, could just be saying that, again, I feel like you might get some creative ideas about what you want to do financially speaking as well, maybe as a result of some conversations you had this month. All right. For the 9th house, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So 9th house in general points to philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs. And in this deck, it's referred to as the Lord of the Root of the Powers of Earth. So yeah, I feel like this is just saying that you might even find that for some of you, maybe your philosophies might shift around finances, possibly, right? Given that we see a lot of pentacle energy at play here. But if not that, maybe just what you would consider stability, right? So it could just be one of those things where you might possibly through a conversation, like we were saying, someone might say something, maybe even a bit casually, but it might click with you as, oh, you know what, that actually really resonated with me more than I thought. And you might start to look at other areas of life in which you could apply that. All right. So for the 10th house, which generally points to career and social status, we have the Knight of Swords. So this is actually Gemini energy here. And in this deck, it's referred to as the Lord of the Winds and Breezes. So what I'm seeing with this, I feel like this is saying that there's going to be a good flow of ideas in that area of life, right? So, like we said, there's going to be some conversation seemingly at least somewhat connecting to finances. Like we said, it looks like your creativity is going to be sparked this month too. And putting those two things together, I feel like this is just saying that there's going to be a free flowing exchange of ideas and information this month that's going to be beneficial to you when it comes to your career and social status this month. All right. In the 11th house. So 11th house in general points to friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. We have the foolish man. So this is the equivalent of the fool in traditional tarot. The spirit of ether is what it's referred to as in this deck. And seeing this here, I feel like this is saying you might actually find yourselves mixing and mingling with new groups this month. And maybe that's going to be part of why you might get these new ideas coming your way, right? So maybe you're going to step off the beaten path and start to converse with new people that maybe you hadn't spoken to in the past, or maybe you're just in new environments where you're crossing paths with new people. But either way, I feel like this is saying you're going to be involving yourselves in new groups this month. All right. And for the 12th house, which generally points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health, we have the Queen of Swords. So this is Libran energy, referred to as the Queen of the Thrones of Air. You can see there's pretty dramatic artwork here, right? So usually in most decks with the Queen of Swords, we see her holding the sword up, and then it seems to be more pointing to balance, right? Whereas here it looks like a much more action-oriented energy, to put it lightly rather. But yeah, could just be saying that I feel like you're going to feel a little bit of both of those things, right? Where, like we said, given all the fiery, passionate energy we see popping up for you guys this month, there might be a part of you that might want to come through with more of a direct, possibly even harsh at times communication, but there's also going to be the part of you that knows, like, all right, let me temper that response and just come through a little bit more diplomatically with your communication. That's what I'm seeing with that. All right, and bottom of the deck, we have the Three of Swords. So this is Libra energy here, in this deck referred to as the Lord of Sorrow. And yeah, I do have to say, just what I'm looking at as a whole here, looks like for some of you this could be more of an energy that you guys have been coming out of recently. Looks like you're already popping out on the other side of that. But I would say, if anything, keeping in mind what we talked about with the lunar cycles, right, and how they are going to be pretty significant this month, just try to be a bit more mindful about communication during those days, especially given that there will be a Mercury retrograde in your sign starting on the 26th of February. So Mercury's going to be in shadow before that as well. So I feel like this is just saying, especially with the Three of Swords, given some of the more potent energies that we have in your spread, I feel like this is saying, it's more of a cautionary thing to watch out for when it comes to communication and should be avoidable. But we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So like I said, we're going to pull a card from the Wisdom Oracle deck. I'm just going to give this a few more shuffles, then I'll put the deck down, cut the deck, and we'll pull a card that way. Alright, we will take this card here. Let me get this out of the way and we'll see what card you got. Alright, we have Yang. So yeah, I mean, that alone goes back to what I was saying with all the fiery energy we're seeing in your spread. But there's the artwork, and we'll take a look at the message. At the very least, that could even just be pointing to Mars moving into your sign. Now, technically, it won't be in your sign until the 2nd of March, but it'll be here before we know it, right? So even if you're not fully feeling that passionate, action-oriented energy just yet, as we get closer to the end of the March, you probably will feel it a little more. But central meanings says the masculine principle of movement and creative activity, the power to make things happen, taking action. The Oracle's message. Yang represents the power of action, the energies that propel the world forward, and manifesting thought and desire into concrete form. Now is the perfect time to act, for you can easily build momentum and make headway. What you want will come to fruition if you proceed confidently. This card signifies new life and is a sure sign that obstacles have been overcome. There is no reason to hesitate. You are the shaper of your destiny now. So yeah, that sentence in particular that says this card signifies new life and is a sure sign that obstacles have been overcome. To me, that's another indicator of what I was feeling, which was that Three of Swords energy more likely was more so in your past, and now you're coming out on the other side of that. The relationship message says circumstances are supporting action on your part. It's okay to make the first move. Trust that you will quickly know where you stand. In matters of the heart, there is movement toward your highest good, so go forth with assurance. Passion is in the air, now is the time to dance to the tune of love. Take the lead. So yeah, definitely a positive message there, right? And that could be, again, pointing to what we see with the fortitude or strength energy in the fifth house for you guys, and also, like we said, the Six of Pentacles. So I would say reading this message as well and incorporating those two things could just be saying, if you're a little bit fearful, oh, if I make the first move, well, I always have to feel like I'm carrying the relationship. I feel like the Six of Pentacles energy says that no, once you do make that move, you can rest assured that as you move through the connection, it will be a very balanced dynamic between the two of you. All right, the prosperity message says projects, partnerships, and all matters relating to your business are out of the obstacle phase and on to the make it happen phase. Now is the time to stake your claim and get things done. While you can expect to be busier than usual, this card tells you that you have all the energy and vitality you need to accomplish your goals. Abundance is waiting for you to claim it. So yeah, definitely a positive message there as well. And again, like we said, it looks like all that fire energy that we do see coming through for your spread, looks like it seems to support that as well. So yeah, once again, happy early birthday. Hope that resonated, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.